Because I learned when they're gone.
Oh, yes, and actually root beer is your favorite, so you can put more root beer in there.
Okay, do I get mine out too?
Are you taking a selfie?
Awesome. That's excellent. And what's the Arby's? Okay, that's excellent.
I just thought you were like.
I do, I like that. That's awesome.
Okay, we're gonna get going again, everyone,
Where do you want me to put it stuff?
in like 9 seconds.
But then I see the
Oh,
things that
okay.
they
So I just need to do it and let them know.
Councilor Williams?
Another motions after this, I have to have
I see their information. How much better
This guy says he's through visa.
Kurt, you can apply for our IT position when it comes vacant. You can apply for our IT position when
You
it comes
guys'
vacant.
job.
You know,
I'd like to get the meeting going.
if you talk to anyone that I work with, they would tell you that's a bad
The
recommendation.
biggest thing, like with me, with the
Very
access,
bad.
is, hey, how do we partnership?
The grandma of
To
the
get
town.
that development started, and bring people, bring businesses here, and get that going, right? But I have to go, you guys probably have to. So,
But we love you, but we need you to go now.
We're meeting again December 13th, Chris, if you'd like to sit in.
I'll see if I want to. I'll see you at the open house anyhow around before that. We have one more open house to go through.
Oh.
All right, thank you, everybody. See you. Those I don't see, Merry Christmas to you.
Thanks, Chris.
I guess it's my job to lock that door.
So just,
You can't hear it filter. You gotta do it.
William?
You don't get it for the
Are you there, Joyce?
I just texted, can she hear it? She said no.
oh, just.
She can't hear it.
So just before we get started, something that brought to my attention just about, we're gonna.
You're gonna be calling, she just wants you to call herself.
Well,
She can just hear us. Is,
what's going on?
Yeah, sorry. We just want to make sure that everyone's clear. You know how Glenn mentioned there's 2 pieces of land on the old high school land here. One's a small little piece that's right by the museum. We just want to make sure you're clear on and that your intention was that both those are part of what we're posting or just a larger piece.
Well, both parts are part of the old History High School.
Right. So we just, and that's all fine, we're fine with that. We just want to make sure that there's not.
We're identifying them.
Rick, we need microphone so Joyce can hear.
Well,
The land description.
And maybe it sounds like you all understood.
Microphones.
Yeah.
the information.
Okay, so
Oh, we're in closed meeting and
So are you listening? Put your cards away.
No, we don't have to.
Put your cards away.
We
We have We have 13 days to sign.
Yeah.
Okay, and Councilor McCoy's on the phone, and we're in closed meeting. And I know that this is gonna be something that we have to deal with about our virtual meetings and our closed meetings. Yeah, I'm on. And, because I know
It is on.
previously that we, making statements when we have to be assured that Councilor McCoy is in a room by herself with no one else in the room with her. So we just need you to confirm that you're in a room by yourself and that no one else is going to listen in on the conversation. Well, I don't think that would help, Councilor McCoy, but thanks. Okay. All right, thanks for confirming that. Just loading something here. Okay.
I'll hold you up to the mic and speak so they can hear you.
Well, so I might as well close Google Meets then, right? Because you can't hear through that anyway? Is that true?
I can see you. I just can't hear you on Google Meet.
You know, but now, if you don't mute, then it's echoing in my computer.
I could just listen if you want to turn it off, for sure.
Well, no, I guess, are you going to text?
The sound is coming, it won't come through this app. As soon as I turn on YouTube. What? All the sounds came from YouTube.
Okay, I'm just wondering how, we're gonna do the same thing, you're gonna raise your hand if you want to speak.
I can't hear you now. Microphone, please. Why don't we just hang up off this and I'll just listen in there.
Well, what I'll do is, I'm gonna hang up this because it's now giving feedback, but I'll make sure that when we get to the question time, we'll go around the table and ask if you have any questions.
Sure.
As part of the whole process. Okay, so.
You can text me if you want.
Shouldn't have to, so Ethan, I'll hand it to you.
Thank you. So I've included here what the draft agenda so far is with our Tri-Town dinner and annual meeting with Carstairs and Crossfield, our dear friends there. And as you can see, that's already currently on the list. And we just wanted to give an opportunity if any councillors had any other ideas of issues of common interest for us, 3 corridor towns, if they wanted to suggest anything else be added to the agenda.
Is Ethan on his mic?
Go ahead, Councillor Moore. Yes, he is.
I wonder if maybe your mic being on might interfere for her. What I was wondering about, being that it says lagoons for Carstairs, at one point Carl was talking about a possibility of Carstairs, Crossfield and Didsbury perhaps sometime going toward a sewage treatment plant that would be able to release constantly into the Rosebud River to the delight of all the farmers and ranchers downstream. When we're talking about lagoons, is that what it is, or are we just talking about dealing with our own lagoons?
So on that issue, there was some our 3 administrations did look at some potential proposals and ideas of lagoon technology. We kind of ended up backing out because we don't really have the same needs that Carstairs and Crossfield have with their lagoons. So I'm not exactly sure what the intention of this item is, but that issue, because Crossfield also ended up backing out because it's interesting technology, but it wasn't. We're one of the ones in the region that are really well situated with our needs.
And if I could just say, I really appreciate the item that you got in there for Didsbury, because that has been outstanding so long for you to bring it forward.
I can't hear you now.
Oh, okay. I really appreciate the Alberta municipalities item that Didsbury brought forward. I think that is really pertinent. If we're going to have an organization, we better have better representation than we've been getting.
And I'm just going to touch on that because part of the Alberta municipalities had a governance review, and that was one of their topics, is that they don't understand enough and at the table representing their municipalities, they have to get better at it. And Councillor Moore and I have talked about this too, that it's, oh, it was Ethan and I and Councillor Moore, but the points that they're telling us what Alberta municipalities is doing all the time, and we know that because we get email, we can read the weekly newsletter. So they don't ask for our input, and Trina, I think, really got a good earful on at our mayor's meeting, and it was really well done, and she received it well too. So yeah, I think we're on the right track with that. Thanks for that. Anything else, Councillor Windsor? Sorry.
Is there any interest between the three municipalities to see if there was an interest in housing needs assessments?
I don't know.
There I am. I can hear you now.
That's an interesting idea. We haven't really talked about it, about the three of us. I know that is something that's going to be part of, that's on the plan to be discussed and considered as part of the upcoming MDP process, to explore potentially doing it together with our MDP, doing it as a joint thing. I don't know about the idea of doing the larger tri-town housing needs. I don't know much about that on that larger scale, and I'm open to comments on that.
Just wondering if because I wasn't in the session where Mountain View Seniors Housing was presenting to MAP, we had thought that perhaps because Mountain View Seniors Housing needs a housing needs assessment as well, and the last one was not shared with municipalities, that maybe through MAP we could have the whole region do one together with Mountain View Seniors Housing. And we've been talking about that at the board level, but I was hoping it was also mentioned at MAP.
It hasn't been. Whatever. We could throw it on there as a topic, like on our meeting with the two communities, municipalities.
Just to see what
We can throw whatever we want.
think about that.
Yeah.
No point in us all paying for one.
Yeah, I agree. I do want to say, because you brought up MAP, because we're talking about these things, and I guess it won't relate to cross-show, but all of council should have been invited to that meeting. And I did mention that, too late though, obviously, and I'll talk about it, I guess, at governance interface, because it can cover two things I can in that topic, because there was information in there that everybody should have heard, and for me and Ethan to relay it isn't possible.
But you do know,
We can get the report.
you do know that it was going to be all council, but they scheduled it on a day when, for months now, we've had the staff appreciation schedule, and they scheduled it on top, and then we requested to be able to go earlier in order to be able to get there at all. Our CAO cannot be missing staff appreciation.
Yeah.
But they scheduled it on top, they didn't ask us, but then, demanding the presence without checking with us first.
Yes. Okay. So anybody thinks of anything? Are you still signing cards? Okay. Let's go. Keep going.
I'd like some.
Anyway, we still have time. But we'd probably like to have the agenda ready a week before, so the 7th of December, at the latest, if anybody thinks of anything. I don't think we're opposed to anything. Are there any other questions? Councilor McCoy?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, and then the second one, this is pretty quick and easy. This was just,
But Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to come out of camera for this next issue item.
What is it?
I'm not sure how we can talk about rescinding a public motion in closed meeting.
We
The
can.
discussion about rescinding a motion that was made in the public meeting should be discussed in the closed meeting. It should be discussed to rescind it, should be discussed in public meeting. So I will make a motion to come out of camera. To go back to the public meeting.
Okay, I'm going to just ask though, or highlight, comment on that all the details of why we got to that motion were in a closed meeting. So if there's anything to add to the details of why we made that motion, can be here. But the motion itself can be rescinded in public. So we don't have to come out right now until we rescind the motion in public. I guess because of the information that we had was closed meeting information to come to them. Because ICC items are enclosed, and now that motion was made public, we can certainly rescind it publicly, but if there's information about what was dealt with enclosed, that would stay enclosed. Because just the motion is public, not the information that we discussed. You're looking at me.
Well, I'm not sure why we would be discussing the items that were discussed in camera, in closed, again, to rescind the motion.
Well, we don't have to discuss anything. We can rescind the motion when we come out of closed. We don't have to come out of closed for that. We can rescind the motion when we come out. Same as we're going to make a motion. We're not going to make a motion yet about it. We'll rescind the motion when we come out of closed. And if everybody agrees to that, we'll carry on with that process and rescind the motion in an open session. No discussion otherwise.
Again, we can't discuss it,
We have to resend the motion.
close information in open because it was ICC, right?
Well, the background of number 2 tells you why we're going to rescind it.
Yes.
So if there's any comments on that, because it's about the information we discussed and closed, then make the comments now, but when we come out, we'll rescind the motion. So there's no comments, and when we come out of closed, we'll just rescind the motion. Okay, moving on. I'm going to bring up, and I'll just touch again on that governance interface with MAP. I asked for the mayors to all meet in advance at MAP. I requested Mayor Dahl to just ask the mayors to step out, and the county reps, who were Councillor Krebs and Councillor Lutz, and then 5 mayors, for how many ever we have. Mayor Hager wasn't there. But I was really uncomfortable with the process, and I made them aware of my discomfort with the process, that they would, they said their directors hadn't addressed the audit questions. Or they said they couldn't get answers to the questions on their audit. So I already read the questions that Nauvoo County had presented.
Are you talking about Longview Seniors Housing?
Yes, at the MAP meeting. So I asked all the mayors to meet, because I was really uncomfortable with it, because I didn't think they had already answered the questions in a letter. The directors, they said, from county couldn't get the answers from the board and from the auditor. And then Reeve Valbers also indicated that she couldn't get the answers when they asked for a meeting. And so then they wrote the letter to all of us, and in the meantime, CC'd it to someone that shouldn't have got it. And so I said, like, why is this a MAP item right now? The letter was addressed. the answers are there, and I'm uncomfortable thinking that we would bring Mount View Seniors Housing to only answer the county's questions. I said, I count on our director to answer those questions for us. And if you're not satisfied with your answers, then you would come back to council and we'd send you some more, or whatever. So Mayor Warnick jumped in to defend the county and say that it was his idea to bring them to present the audit. And because remember Mount View County always presented the audit to all the councils? You remember that?
County?
Mount View Seniors Housing. Presented the Mount View Seniors Housing audit to council. They always came and did everybody, right? So Mayor Warnick says, well, I just wanted them to present the audit to all of the mayors at once instead of going to every meeting. To which I said, but they're not presenting the audit here. They're presenting 4 answers to questions. So if that's what you did, I'm fine. Like I was catching up, I missed some time, I acknowledged. And so to make myself clear on why we were there for that meeting, I did question the county. And I don't know that they were happy with that. Angela and I were fine after, we had a good conversation. But it wasn't a presentation of the audit. So I said, if anything that this has brought about is that we will ask Mount View Seniors Housing to come and present their audit, and that all of us present our questions in advance so that they're all presented at the same time. And maybe we'll have the Waste Commission come and present their audit every year, and maybe, but all of council needs to be there, not just the mayors. We all need to hear the same information. So I just wanted to fess up that I had a kind of an uncomfortable interaction with the county initially. Angela and I are going to have a coffee, that's fine, she's whatever, it's all good. But
I want to thank you for that, because
Yeah, Mayor. Joyce, can you hear me?
oh, it's Joyce?
Yeah.
Huh.
Imagine that on the phone,
Okay.
on the street.
Go ahead.
I'm just thanking you for that, but also, so all the information that you said that all of council should have heard, how are they going to make up for that in the future? Like, or like, how will we ever find out all these things?
Well, there's really nothing to find out. Mount View Seniors Housing sent the letter of response to the county. It was very clear what happened. I think the biggest part of that was the board, or Chair Ryan and Stacy and who's your CFO?
Razmir.
Yeah. They were there and it was a very good presentation, but it was just exactly what the letter responded to. And the only additional information was that, you know, the county again expressed their dismay and displeasure at all of this went down. And I did defend Mount View Seniors Housing too, in that they're aware of their issues and they're trying to fix them. And I think we have to give them that credit for identifying their issues and dealing with them. They're not blind to it all. Like, they're aware of this, and Stacy even was quite surprised at the level of work she had to do with Mount View Seniors Housing, but they're going to work hard at it. Bottom line, and Ethan heard me say this too, Mayor Warnick indicated or supported that the only way to get Mount View Seniors Housing back to where they need to be is increased requisitions. And that is the only way, perhaps through your sale of your buildings. But I also supported that when the board goes to Mount View Seniors Housing Board meetings, they need to put their board hats on and take their council hats off. And that as much as I hate to agree with Mayor Warnick that we need increased requisitions, the board has to look after the business first. And not all of our taxpayers, that's not their job. Their job is the board, just like Water Commission, just like Waste Commission. So,
One question before we go on. Is this thing still on? It's plugged
No.
in. Did anybody turn it off? We can broadcasting this.
Yeah, no, she turned it off, and then it's still set up though, so that when we go back into open, she'll come back in and then turn it
yeah,
back on.
Joyce can't see it either, so.
I can
One
see you
thing-
all.
Yeah, through the camera, get out of there, go sit down.
One thing that makes Mayor Warnock particularly sensitive in this area is that they did a really stupid thing building that Sundry Lodge with 40% contribution from the federal government. And the reason that we need to sell some of this stuff is to get the $18 million in debt that we took on for doing that stupid thing. It's a black hole, and now that we have a bunch of vacancies, it hurts even more. So yes, Mayor Warnock is going to have a slightly different opinion because it's their fault.
Yeah, it's that lodge for sure, Sundry got that. So that's just an update on that meeting. And Mayor Dole's in charge of the meetings this year, and I think it goes to the county next year. So I had another item on here, and that was, well, it's one of two, the governance interface. And I wanted, back on November 4th, I asked Councilor McCoy for a meeting. Council, what? Oh, yeah, get out of here. Sorry. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. He's just kind of like a fixture, right? I like fixtures.
I can't see it.
No, you're right. Yeah, I had talked to Ethan about that
Yeah.
before the meeting then.
Well, and sometimes there's things you want me here, and sometimes.
Exactly.
But I'll have to get the hell out of here.
We'll call you back. We have a motion to make. 2, I think.
Never mind.
Let me get the door at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I know.
I guess I should have got really this.
He's gone. I don't think he's coming back. Okay, so I asked Councillor Moore for a meeting, Councillor McCoy, for a meeting on the morning of November 4th, and I had just emailed her because it was an issue that I wanted to meet with her about, and I see that she emailed everybody else and wanted to know the topic. So I phoned her on November 7th, and we talked for a brief 4 minutes because Councillor McCoy was quite sick, and she wasn't going to meet that day, obviously, or the next, and so we had a discussion, and I advised her of the reasons that I would like to meet with her. And I think everybody can understand that the night of November 3rd was not a pleasant meeting, and so I was going to follow up on that, as per our proper process, one-on-one. Having said that, Councilor McCoy felt better if Deputy Mayor Engel would sit in. And so that was fine. As an observer. So, in the meantime, Councilor McCoy sent a text that she was feeling better and she was looking forward to our meeting. And that was on November 8th. And again, I wanted it before November 11th, our meeting. And then on November 14th, I emailed again and asked when we could meet to discuss the issue that I had brought up with her. And she responded that she didn't know what the meeting was about, which I had advised her, and so had Deputy Mayor, I believe, because they talked just about his presence there. I'll let you talk. I'll just go through the information and then...
That's what the issue is, because I still don't know what it is. All I know is that you quoted section 13 of the Act, or of the Council Code of Conduct.
Yeah, and then I referenced the meeting the night before that I was going to follow section 13.1 is when when a councillor identifies a breach or a behavior or an act, we meet one-on-one.
No, don't unplug because I'm...
They're just coming in here to take the camera. That's not running.
Okay. So I moved it.
Everybody's aware of motion 555 dash what?
Dash 2. Yeah.
I'll call the vote. All in favor? That's carried. And thank you for coming and being in attendance tonight, and of course to all our council members and personnel. I will call this November 8th, 2022 regular